Hey everybody, welcome to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. I am John Clark with the great Mike Quick, the great Ike Reese, and you know the Eagles are 8-0 for the first time in team history. Now they are going for the longest winning streak in a season. They would match the franchise record with 9 straight wins. One of these guys was on a team that won 9 in a row. I think we know who that is. How about that win coming off the W in Houston? You have a long break again. What do you expect to see from this team?
Well, first of all, short week, they went down there and did exactly what they were supposed to do, is get a win by any means necessary. Was it the prettiest game? Was it their best game of the season? Not by far, but they did what they needed to do against a young team that was gamed in their building on national TV. They played a tight first half, but clearly by the second half, you saw who was the better team. Eagles pulled away in that game. Jalen Hurts, fantastic job, blocking out all the distractions, going back home, playing a great game, and Dallas Goedert. My man Dallas Goedert just continues to fly under the radar. We keep talking about him being a top 5 tight end in this league. There's an argument he's the best tight end in this league right now.
Well, he's not under my radar. I think he's the best tight end in football with all that he adds to this offense. But look at the situation that this team is in now. Undefeated, and you know every team in the league, they're shooting for this team. Did you ever play King of the Mountain when you were a kid? No,
I got pushed down.
I got pushed down.
So when we play King of the Mountain, no matter who's on the top, everyone's shooting for you, everyone wants to take you down. Well, that's where the Eagles are. Every team now, they're going to give the Eagles their best because they want to be the team to take this team down.
Yeah, and there's really strengths all over this Eagles team. How about the defensive backs? They lead the NFL coming into this week in interceptions with 12. So let's get a little tape study with the defensive backs coach, Denard Wilson. Here he is with Fran Duffy, presented by Chickies and Pete's.
Well, joining us this week here for Tape Study, presented by Chickies and Pete's, Eagles defensive backs coach Denard Wilson. And Coach, before we get into the tape, I wanted to ask you a couple newcomers to this Eagles secondary coming into the year. What was it like getting C.J. Gardner-Johnson, James Bradbury acclimated over the course of the summer, and in C.J.'s case, right on the eve of the season?
Well, it was tough with C.J. because we had a couple days before we actually went out and played the first play. But it's just all about getting them caught up with terminology, trying to get them to understand the techniques and fundamentals that we're asking them to do within the defense. And then once they get the verbiage and you can kind of put the verbiage that they used prior to the verbiage that we had to make it simple for them, they began to play a little faster. And it was fun to do it. That's why we get paid to be coaches.
It helps having those two guys, or having guys in the secondary that have been there in year 2, Darius Slay being one of them. Take us through this Darius Slay interception against the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay, well, first and foremost, just understanding the area of the field that we're in. We're in the high red zone. And within the high red zone, certain teams attack the defense a certain way. First of all, it has to be noticed that Grave right here wins a one-on-one. So we know defensively, as we go back, that this is a Mike-based team, okay? It's a Mike-based team. With it being a Mike-based team, we know that they're gonna slide there. Grave has a one-on-one, a two-way. So Grave beats his guy, all right? And as Grave beats his guy, he alters this pass here, all right? Now, as we go back, all right, knowing this is a touchdown, check down mentality offense in the high red zone, meaning that they want to throw the ball in the end zone, okay? Or if it's not there, check it down, all right, to underneath cover defenders. So when you see Slay here, he aligns, all right, with outside shade. When these two guys go vertical, he's gonna spray his release to come back inside. And once he sprays his release, Slay slides inside of it right now, all right, and he puts himself in position to make the play. But it all started up front. It started with recognition of the situation, where we're at on the field, all right, and then good film study and Slay doing his responsibility and understand what's about to happen.
Coach, the thing that stood out to me too, just listening to you go through that, is that there's a certain amount of patience that's required and disciplining your technique there with Darius as well, right? Because he gets right on top of him, but doesn't really break down.
So when you get into the red zone as a defensive back, if you're playing off coverage, the first thing I teach these guys is this: eliminate your pedal, okay? So when you see guys out on the field, they backpedal faster because guys can push. It's more room to run vertical. When you get down here, it's not a lot of room. So you slow your footwork up, and what you see him doing, how he's coming out, is more of a scooch technique. So you're scooching out to cause the cushion, and when the quarterback back foot hits, he's connected at the top of the route. And it allows you to slow down, play with your eyes, play position and leverage, and, Slade being who he is, he made a hell of a play.
Eyes on the ball, was able to make this play, a huge play in the red zone, Coach. And we talk about eye discipline and the ability to kind of read the body language of the receiver, the quarterback. James Bradbury brings that to the table. We see that on this play as well.
All right, so playing against Dallas here, we're playing basic cover 4 defense right here. And in cover 4 defense, the corners are responsible for number 1, okay? All right, now, when they reduce the set and they get into a gray area, which is 4 yards apart, we have another check. And that check we call it tandem. So basically, the corner and the safety start to zone the quarter. Okay, they start to zone the quarter. However, the corners are responsible for 1. Now, once they get into this snug-like set, the safeties now are cross-keying. Okay, so when they're cross-keying, Marcus' eyes is going opposite field, and Chauncey's eyes are going opposite there. So what that does is this: we tell the safeties you can zone your quarter. That means that you're getting depth. All right, to protect the corners on any overs, any crossing routes. So the corners know right now that they're protected by their safeties. So what that allows James and Slade to do right now is be patient, all right, and sit on any underneath route, all right. If any underneath routes occurs, they can go be aggressive and steal it, and the safeties are protecting you for any deep overs, any deep routes. So you see them right now, how patient they are. They open, they're getting ready to go sit, and James sits perfectly. Both of them get connected at the same time. All right, the ball comes out. James make a hell of a break at the top of the route. All right, he gets his hands on it, and Chauncey and Marcus being where they're supposed to be, as safeties, you're responsible for tips and overthrows. And this is a great example of a tip and overthrow, and then the guys converging at the top of the route to attack the ball. In the defensive back room, we talk about attacking the ball with violence, whether it's in a run game or in a pass game. So if the ball's up in the air, it's ours, go get it. And you see Slade's fighting for it right there. It's just a great play of, it was kind of teach tape on the way they played it. It's executed to a T. All right, this is one of my favorite plays we had all year.
Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. Pepsi, Eagles watching, better with Pepsi. PA Lottery, there's a lot of love for the PA Lottery, and when you see how fun it is, you'll understand why.
Coach, all the best to you and yours, brother. Much respect.
Same here. You conquer the moment. You take advantage of the moment. We play together. Yep. We dog together. We run this stuff together. Yep. It don't take much. It don't take much. Hey, get these what they came to see, man. Eagles on 3, 1, 2, 3. You like these?
Let me see the ball though. How you get those?
They send them to me.
You like them?
I love them.
They so grippy.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I know I got one already, but send me that one too. Right now? All right, guys.
And how about Jalen Hurts? The 2 highest passer ratings for any games in his career, back-to-back. 6 touchdowns, no interceptions these last 2 weeks. Just how well is he playing right now?
He's playing great, and 2 words really will sum him up when you talk about Jalen Hurts. Explosive and efficient. And he's been both, and he's been a lot of it. When I go through games and I'm looking, and he's 4 for 4, and then he's 5 for 7, and then he's 7 for 9. You just know that he's taking care of the football, he's very efficient with the football, and they're getting the ball down the field. I just love the way he's playing, the decision making, and Ike, he's in a pretty good system that's helping him to really show his skill sets.
Yeah, he's really being the ultimate point guard right now. If I can cross the sports there, football and basketball. Jalen Hurts doing a great job of distributing the football where it needs to go, playing in a comfortable offense where it allows him to be the player that he's most comfortable being, not asking him to do things that's out of the realm of his possibility, and the way that he's taking care of the football, not putting it in harm's way, clearly the front runner, or should be the front runner for the MVP in this league.
Yeah, and 3 turnovers through 8 games. That's the fewest in Eagles history. He is really taking care of the football. The Washington defense playing pretty well lately. They're going to come after him. So let's get some enemy intel on that defense coming up from Washington. Here's Greg Cosell, presented by Golden Nugget Jewelers.
As the Eagles get ready to play the Washington Commanders this week, I really wanted to find focus. Because when you look at the Eagles through their 8-0 start, they have been really good on first down. That's the down you really need to shut them down. You want to get them into 3rd and long. Now, of course, that's true with every team in the league, but the Eagles have been one of the absolute best teams in the league on first down, incredibly productive. So when you're a defense thinking about how you want to play the Eagles on first down, you've got to come up with some different tactics that you believe can create negative plays. And we saw that with the Washington Commanders last week against the Minnesota Vikings. One tactic really stood out on first down when you watch the tape, and that was a blitz off each edge. It made sense against a team like the Vikings, somewhat similar to the Eagles in that they like to run the ball on first down, and also the play action element. It works against both. And the first two, they defend the run. It's really nicely done from a tactical perspective. You get into the backfield quickly. It happens with speed. That's the key here. It happens so fast that the offense can't really react. The second part of this is dealing with the play action element of the Eagles pass game, just as they dealt with the play action element of the Vikings pass game. Because again, it's the speed that makes this work. Here you're going to see Kirk Cousins with play action. And what happens before he even can turn around and get ready to set and throw is you get the corner, St. Juste, right in his face, tackling him for a loss. So you get the 2 run plays and you get the sack on first down. That will be one of the defining elements of this game. If the Eagles can be successful on first down, it could be a long night for the Washington Commanders. If the Commanders can control first down, they might have an opportunity to minimize this Eagles offense.
Hey, I don't usually do the game ball thing after, because it's hard to see like what happens and everything. We want to really go through everything. But I forgot to mention him last week when he had 2 sacks. He had 3 sacks. He had 3 quarterback hits, and he had 3 tackles for loss.
You saw Nick Sirianni giving a game ball to Javon Hargrave. 5 sacks over the last 2 games. My goodness, he's completely healthy again. And how about the defense? I mean, to be plus 15 turnover differential, that's amazing. CJ Gardner-Johnson coming into the week leading the NFL with 5 interceptions. How about CJ's play and the play getting turnovers, especially from that secondary?
Yeah, 4 straight games for CJ Gardner-Johnson. Great job he's doing, being in the right place in the right time. We have a philosophy on defense we love to live by. Tips and overthrows, they have to be ours. That just means if a ball is tipped or if a quarterback overthrows somebody, we have to make them pay for that. And CJ Gardner-Johnson has been a beneficiary of being in the right place at the right time. Now, that doesn't minimize who he is as a player and what he brings to the game. But here's a guy playing in this scheme, in this system, he's benefiting from being in the right position. Let's take a look back at the game against Houston, the interception he had in this game. You're going to get this set where you got trips over here to the left, and the Eagles have a little bit of a quarter coverage going on here, a little bit of a matchup zone. So what I mean by that is CJ Gardner-Johnson is really the last defender from a coverage standpoint over here. So he's going to be responsible for whomever crosses the field. He's taking the first guy back. You're going to see Chris Moore lined up in the number 2 spot. Now, this was CJ Gardner-Johnson previous stop, he probably would have been up on the line of scrimmage in some sort of man or press coverage against this guy without the ability to make the interception that he's about to make. But the fact that he's playing off in this scheme, he sees more coming across the field, and I love the position that CJ Gardner-Johnson puts himself in where he can see the quarterback and the receiver coming across the field. Because of the rush that we're getting up front, Davis Mills is forced to make this throw when he doesn't want to. Ball doesn't come out as precise as he wants it to. CJ sees this. He's able to make a play on the ball even though he had coverage responsibility on Moore coming across. Tips and overthrows and being in a position to take advantage of those plays. CJ Gardner-Johnson, my goodness, 4 straight games with interceptions, and you can almost go back and look at every last one of them. It was a result of either a tip or overthrow. He's in the right position in this scheme and it's benefiting him making plays every week.
Now, who are the Eagles going to be facing? The receivers for Washington, they're pretty good. So here's some enemy intel with Greg Cosell, presented by Golden Nugget Jewelers.
When you take a hard look at the Washington Commanders offense, you really see two players that absolutely stand out that the Eagles will have to defend. One is Curtis Samuel. The other is Terry McLaurin. Now, Samuel has become kind of a movable chess piece in the Commanders' offense. He's both a running back and a receiver. So last week against the Minnesota Vikings, I want to show you a play where he's in the backfield offset. Now, he's not only in the backfield by himself, he's in the backfield with another back. So now you get an interesting situation defensively. How do you want to play this? Because not only can he run the ball, but you also have to be careful of him as a receiver, let's say running a wheel route or a halfback seam route. On this particular play, it will be inside zone, and it's blocked really well up front, and Samuel will run for 16 yards. That's a big explosive play as a running play. So Samuel is one player that the Eagles must defend, and they must know where he is pre-snap on every play. The other player, well known to Eagles fans, is Terry McLaurin. Now, McLaurin is one of the best receivers in the game, and he will line up both outside and in the slot. And McLaurin is the only receiver this season that has put up 100 yards receiving against the Eagles. So they know about him, not only from this year, but in years past. So I want to show you a play that was specifically designed for McLaurin, because keep in mind, Taylor Heinicke will be playing quarterback, and Heinicke does not have a big arm, so you have to design and define throws for him, particularly in the short to intermediate area. So here you have three receivers to the left side of the formation and McLaurin on the right side of the formation. And it's cover one, man-to-man coverage with a single high safety. The Eagles will absolutely play that. Everybody does. So what happens here is the three receivers to the left, they just release vertically. What do you get with McLaurin against Kenny Moore? Arguably one of the best slot corners in the game, is you get a little bit of a jerk route, a stop, and then a go on a shallow cross. And what happens here is he gets Moore trailing him. And this is an easy pitch and catch throw for Heinicke, who leads McLaurin with room to run after the catch, and it becomes a 40-plus yard gain. So McLaurin, he's the receiver you have to be really careful about. Samuel, he's a receiver, he's a back. Those are the two explosive players in the Commanders' offense that must be the focus of the Eagles' defense.
Welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. And earlier this week, Toyota and the Eagles, they partnered together to host the Toyota Salute to Service military flag football game at the NovaCare Complex Fieldhouse. The event featured over 40 active and retired military members, and they competed across numerous 7-on-7 games while being coached by Eagles alumni Jason Avant and William Thomas. Toyota Tri-State Dealers Association President Paul Muller, he spoke about the importance of supporting and giving back to our military members and what it means to Toyota to continue to be a leader in the salute to service efforts across the Philly region. Toyota led a variety of efforts this past week, culminating with Monday Night Football, with the Eagles taking on the Washington Commanders in the team's salute to service game presented by Toyota. And the Eagles have beaten the Commanders 9 out of 11 times. Washington, they're playing pretty well. You can't overlook this team, right?
This is a team that fights you all the way to the end. I just remember a couple weeks ago out in Indy, that game looked like the Colts had it won. Washington fought all the way back in that game and stole the game on the road. The Eagles have to make sure that they take care of business.
And they almost beat Minnesota last week. They looked really good against Minnesota, and Heinicke is playing very good football. It is the NFC beast. And when it's the NFC East, you have to play your best football.
Yeah, best division in football, right? And by the way, I mean, Washington was up on Minnesota by 10 points. They've won 3 of 4. It's going to be a tough one on Monday Night Football. Thanks for watching Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. Pepsi, Eagles watching, better with Pepsi. PA Lottery, there's a lot of love for the PA Lottery, and when you see how fun it is, you'll understand why.